back to Nightlife. When you did Streets of Fire, there was this great fight, you know, with a sledgehammer. It looked like such fun.
It was. It
Was
really
that fun?
Sure, sure. It's terrific.
It's one of the greatest street fight scenes ever done.
Oh, great, great. No, it was great fun to do.
They get out there and well, Paré, you know, he's a pretty big guy, but you really whoop him with that.
Yeah, but we know what happens at the end, right?
Yeah, but that was a real. Was that a real sledgehammer?
For some shots where you would have to smash windshields or make a dent in something, yeah. But yeah. Otherwise, there were lighter.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Copies.
Yeah, couldn't imagine whaling that.
But then we decided that when we first went at it, they looked too light, so we had to, you know, kind of do a little tension and act the weight of it a little bit.
Wow, and then, you know, in this other action, and then in The Live and Die in L.A., you really shot up a lot of things. I mean, I never did these kind of movies, you know?
No,
it's got to be fun to just go in there with all those weapons and...
I must admit, you know, there's a part when I look at a script, you know, you kind of cruise through the thing and see how many toys that there are to play with, you know? And, you know, if there's cars and guns or exotic things to do, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Printing money into Live and Die was great fun.
Oh, yeah, when you were counterfeiting.
Yeah.
Making all that money.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, now you didn't grow up bad, right? You really came from a nice rural kind of a...
Middle class, Midwest, no trouble.
Where were you, Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's where my brother lives, Madison.
Really?
Yeah.
Madison, oh yeah.
So you grew in a little town?
Yeah, 60,000 people.
That's a town? That's a building here. I mean, did you ever get in trouble, or were you always like a...
Nothing to really speak of. I was a pretty good boy.
See, you busted my bubble, man. I thought...
I don't have any stories.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna, like, yeah, I drove a car through a police station once, and...
That's why I like to act it out in the movies, I guess.
Yeah, you like the action films, though, right?
I do. You know, I like to do all kinds of things, but...
What about comedy or...
Yeah, you know, I work with a theater company downtown called the Wooster Group, and I do a fair amount of comedy, usually either as the straight man or broad physical comedy.
Do you like doing comedy?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
See, that's what I'd like to see him make a whole jump and do something like, you know, like a singing waiter, something, you know. Well, you do sing and dance, don't you?
A little bit,
right?
Sure.
So you could do like a good, funny, singing, dancing waiter part. And I could be the guy who drives through in a car.
That's a deal.
Well, this group you're working with, well, what's the next project? You have a project coming up now, the Saigon, right? That you're working on. But that's not about Vietnam.
Well, Vietnam's a backdrop. It is in Saigon. It's not a war picture. It's more like a cop or detective picture, because it's about some guys with a criminal investigative unit of the military that are investigating some murders. Mm-hmm. And it's very kinetic, a lot of action, lots of nice turns.
Toys?
Yeah.
A few toys in there?
Yeah, and it's very exotic because it's, you know, Saigon during those war years, you know, all the hooker bars.
Yeah, everything. I don't know, but I've read it. I've read about it. When you were actually doing the movie, when you were doing Platoon, there was a lot, you filmed that in Manila, right?
Outside of Manila.
Wasn't it during a time there was trouble?
Sure. In fact, I got there before any of the other actors, and I remember it was a long flight. I took a nap. When I woke up from this nap, I opened the curtains in my hotel room. I looked down, and there on the street, before were bustling with people. Nobody was there, and then I looked a little closer, and a column of tanks is going down the main drag, so I knew that it finally had happened.
You didn't think you overslept for the film? You actually heard
the comedian, right?
Right now. But you actually heard shots being fired, and that.
No, you know, because it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that Marcos was going to get out by then. There was some sniping around the TV station.
Oh yeah, that's when they took it over.
Yeah. But other than that, it was. I mean, the real mark of that change was that it was peaceful.
But what was it like to work in those conditions? Because you were really working in the Philippines. That's really hot and bad at that time.
Jungle is.
Yeah, that
jungle is real funky and.
Because the scene, yeah, right. The scenes from the movie, you could tell this is like bad jungle.
Right, and you know, jungle photographs very beautifully and kind of lush, but you know, you look down at your feet and there's just a world of stuff happening down there. Lots of ants and snakes and, you know, wet and hot.
And it's the real stuff. It's the real stuff. Not like Hollywood, you know, little plastic trees going by. This is
No.
Plastic snakes. This was the real stuff.
Yeah.
How'd you feel? I mean, after you were there, how long were you over there?
3 months.
Whew. I mean, you must have really been like jungle sick by then, right?
You know, I think about going back sometimes.
To the jungle?
Sure. And I probably will, because this next movie shoots in Bangkok. So
yeah, but you don't mean on your own.
Asia.
I mean, you're not going to like say, hey,
on my own, like for a little vacation.
Yeah, hey, let's go to the jungle. It's going to be Atlantic City, Rio, or jungle. I mean, you wouldn't do it that way, right? You might go back to film.
Right.
But you're actually like you know, you're terrific because you're really a good guy, and you got a kid, and you're a father, and you live in New York, and you're working for you're really a straight kind of like basic kind of guy. You're nothing like you really can flip it over to performing those roles. You're right. You got to study.
I can't say.
I want to tell you something, Paul. You still look like a badass to me. You know what I mean? And I want to thank you for coming here.
Sure.
Okay. Good night. Listen, I got so caught up in how bad he looks, and we still had some time. See, the show's not over. Now, one of the things I've been reading about you, and I could see it from some of the, we have some women and young women, you become like a sex symbol now. How do you feel about that thing?
What can I tell you? 35 seconds?
Yeah, in 10 seconds. How do you like it? You like it?
Just fine, just fine.
Here's the bad sex symbol. Good night now. Really good night.